Imagine this for a second. You're on an operating table, and the person holding the scalpel, the one you've trusted with your life, isn't a doctor at all. It sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the chilling world of medical imposters. And it's a wild journey, taking us from a charming, almost unbelievable con artist all the way to the deadly criminals practicing medicine today. So let's just dive right in with maybe the most audacious imposter of all time. When somebody asked Ferdinand Waldemar Jr. why he did what he didn't mention money or fame or anything like that. Nope. He summed up his entire life's work with just these two words. And what a life's work it was. I mean, Damar's story is so insane, it feels like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood movie script. He wasn't just pretending to be some local doctor. He was pretending to be a surgeon in the middle of a war. Okay, get this. The sheer audacity is just staggering. During the Korean War, Damara gets himself onto a Canadian naval warship, posing as a surgeon named Dr. Joseph Sir. He has absolutely zero medical training. None. And then 16 wounded soldiers are brought in, all needing immediate major surgery. So what does he do? He locks himself in a room, speed reads a surgery textbook, and then just walks into the operating room. And the craziest part? Every single one of them survived. It's an amazing story for sure, but it also makes you wonder, right? How on earth did the Navy's own system fail so completely? Damara's story is one for the books, no doubt, but it's kind of like a historical fluke, a high-stakes gamble where he just miraculously won again and again. But what happens when that gamble turns deadly? Because while Damara's tale is fascinating, the modern face of the medical imposter is so much more dangerous. To really get a sense of how big this problem is today, just look at this number. In India alone, there are an estimated 1 million quacks. These are people practicing medicine with no license. That's nearly as many fake doctors as there are real qualified ones. Think about that for a second. When deception is happening on that kind of scale, the results are, well, they're catastrophic. And these aren't just statistics. These are real stories with devastating outcomes. In Madhya Pradesh, a man posing as a cardiologist performed angioplasties. 7 of his patients died. In Bihar, a 15-year-old boy died after a fake surgeon operated on his gallbladder. And get this, the guy allegedly learned the procedure from watching YouTube videos. These aren't charming adventurers. They are killers hiding in plain sight.
So how do they get away with it? You might think this is all happening in some shady back alley clinic, right? Wrong. That fake cardiologist in Madhya Pradesh, the one responsible for 7 deaths, he was the head of department at a missionary hospital. They offered him an annual salary of 96 lakh rupees. That's over $100,000 US. This was a mainstream institution.
Which brings us to the most important question of all. How is this possible? Why does this keep happening, not just in back alleys, but in major hospitals? The answer, it turns out, isn't just about the imposters themselves. It's about the systems that allow them to flourish. What we're looking at here is a complete chain of failure. You've got hospitals, even the ones paying huge salaries, that are just not doing the basic work of verifying degrees and licenses. It's the same kind of institutional blind spot that let Tamara walk onto a warship all those years ago. But today, you add in placement agencies that don't do any verification, a total lack of oversight in poor areas, and you've created this power vacuum that these predators are more than happy to fill. And this really shows you the two extremes of this whole thing. On one end of the spectrum, you have Ferdinand Damara, the great imposter, who did it for what he called rascally. But on the other end, you have someone like Jean-Claude Roman. For 18 years, this guy pretended to be a doctor at the World Health Organization. When his lie was about to fall apart, he didn't just confess. No, he murdered his wife, his children, and his parents, all to stop them from finding out he was a fraud. Okay, I know, the reality of this is terrifying, but knowledge is power. It's pretty clear we can't always rely on this system to protect us, so let's talk about what you can do, how you can become your own first line of defense. And honestly, it's way easier than you might think. Seriously, here's a simple 4-step process anyone can use. Step 1, just find the official medical licensing board for your state with a quick search. Step 2, get the doctor's full name. Step 3, use the search tool on the board's website. And finally, step 4, review their record. You want to see an active license, and this is crucial, you want to look for any disciplinary actions. A couple of minutes of your time can give you some serious peace of mind. So, what happens when the jig is finally up? When these imposters get caught, what does justice actually look like for the people and the families they've hurt? Well, there are some very clear legal consequences for this kind of deception. The most important thing to get here is that practicing medicine without a license isn't just, unethical. It's a crime in every single state. The law is crystal clear on this. If you hold yourself out as a doctor when you're not, you are breaking the law, period. And for the victims, there are basically two different paths to justice. The first one is criminal. That's when the state prosecutes the imposter for the crime, which can lead to fines and jail time. The second path is civil. That's when the victim or their family files a lawsuit to get financial compensation for all the harm that was done. Both are absolutely vital for holding these people accountable. And that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. It's really easy to just blame the con artist, right? The predator who lies and cheats their way into an operating room. But when a hospital hires a fake cardiologist for a six-figure salary without even checking his degree, when our regulatory systems fail to catch these people, you have to ask yourself, who is truly responsible? The monster who committed the crime? Or the system that opened the door and let him in?